Hi, what's up? This is Jan from Ancient Light Studios back with another tutorial. This time I'm going to show you how you can use uTomate to automate the deployment of your assets to the Unity Asset Store. I'm going to show this with a project named Headhunter, which is a small project that we use, or it's a small tool basically that we use to set code headers in our code files. So as you can see here on the right hand side, we have a header in all of our code files that we need to be consistent throughout the project, and Headhunter is doing just that. You can use window Headhunter to set the header up and then run update headers here, and it will change all the headers within your project. And you can also use the Headhunter from uTomate. There's a uTomate integration. As you can see here, we have an action for this, which basically has the same settings as the main dialog that I just showed you here. So now we want to package this, and if we package something, then we need to make sure that only stuff that needs to be in the final package gets into the final package. As you can see here in our development project, we have the Headhunter itself, and we have a few other folders that we don't want to have in our final assets, especially our unit tests, our uTomate automation plans, some test files that we have here, the uTomate tool itself, and the Chili4U library that we don't need for Headhunter, but we need for uTomate. So when you need to make sure that everything that it shouldn't go into the final asset, you can try around with the asset store tools, but it's not going to work very well, especially if you have a more complex setup. And that's why we use a thing called twin projects for everything that we want to deploy to the asset store. And this basically consists of having a project, a Unity project in which you develop something, and having a separate Unity project in which you only put the stuff that you're going to deploy. I've opened this up here in the forklift tool, and you can see on the left hand side we got the Headhunter deployment project, which currently contains nothing but the asset store tools, and on the right hand side we got the development project, which contains our development project with all the stuff that we need for development. Now, if you have a reasonably simple project, then you could basically just copy everything over in a tool like Forklift. But we have not that simple project here because we have a uTomate integration, as I've shown you earlier. The uTomate integration, if we just copy it over and then package everything, then it would not compile for people who don't have uTomate installed. That's basically because the Headhunter action here, the uTomate actions, are depending on uTomate API, and they won't compile, and therefore the Unity guys won't accept our asset because it doesn't compile. We work around this by creating a Unity package, which we call uTomate integration package, and then we put the integration package and the rest of the source code into the deployment project, and this is usually accepted by the Unity guys. But this also means that you cannot just use an external tool for doing this, and you can also not use just a shell script for copying everything over and making things, because you need to create this Unity package. And if you don't want to do it by hand, then you can do it with uTomate. And I'm going to show you how you can do it with uTomate. So for this project, I have prepared a plan that's called Copy to Deployment Project, and this is all the work that we need to do. I'm opening this up in the plan editor, and you can see here on the left hand side it's just 3 actions, so it's really simple. Depending on the complexity of your project, it might be a few more actions, but for this really simple project, 3 actions are actually enough. So what we do first is we delete everything in our deployment project except the asset store tools. This is because we need to make sure that no leftovers from old versions or something is lying around in the deployment project, so we really have a clean project to start with. And when we've done this, we copy all the files over that we need to copy, basically the Headhunter stuff here, and finally we create a Unity package with the uTomate integration for this. Now, when you need to copy things from one place to the other, then you have the problem that the deployment project basically is located at a different location on every machine. So I'm working here on a Mac, and my deployment project is located under my users folder in devil.unity. If someone works on Windows, then this folder will be located at a completely different location. So what is not a good idea is copying is simply pasting the folder into the action, because then it will only run on your machine. What you want to do is create an editor property. An editor property is you can think of it as a global variable that is only valid for your current machine. It's only available on your current machine. So every developer on your team has to create this variable. And I have named it Headhunter deployment folder here, and it's pointing to my Headhunter deployment project. And every developer in our team is creating the same variable and entering the path here, so it points to the deployment folder on his machine. Now we can use this variable to clear up the folder. So I'm using this here in our base folder setting. I'm going to Headhunter deployment folder /assets, and I'm deleting the Headhunter folder and the Headhunter meta file that Unity usually creates. Now we have cleaned up our project, and now we can copy the files over. This is also quite easy. I'm copying from project assets. This is also quite a useful property to have. It's built into Unity, into uTomate, and it always points to the assets folder of the current project. So you want to use that instead of an editor property, because this is working on all machines the same way. And now you specify what you want to include. I want to include the Headhunter folder and everything within it. And I also want to include the Headhunter meta file. And I don't want to include all the uTomate stuff that is below the Headhunter folder. So you can see we have Headhunter editor uTomate, and this is excluded here, so it's not being copied, and also the uTomate meta file is not being copied. And we copy everything to the Headhunter deployment folder /assets. Now finally we need to create the Unity package, and this is also quite a simple action to do. Basically you tell the action that we want to include everything within Headhunter uTomate, and we don't want to include any kind of meta file because they don't belong into Unity packages. And we want to output this to Headhunter deployment folder /assets /Headhunter /uTomate integration package.unity package. So now I can use all these actions in my automation plan. If you haven't seen our previous video about how to automate your project, where we explain all the basics of this editor, I'm just telling you that you can drag and drop stuff into the automation plan directly here from your project tree. So I'm deleting this node again because we already have everything that we need. And now I can run this plan and see if it works. So I run this plan, and you can see a lot of stuff going on in the console down here. And it took about 2 seconds to prepare my project here. When I look back into Forklift, well, you can see it has created the Headhunter folder here. It has created the editor stuff. The uTomate stuff is not there because I excluded it, and that's the way we want it. But we got our uTomate integration package here, so everyone who has uTomate can simply double-click it. And now I can repeat this plan over and over again, and I will always get the same consistent results. And this is really what you need for deployments. You need to make sure that everything is in place just the way you want it, and that you haven't forgot anything. And I can repeat this, and I will always get my consistent results. And now I can switch to my deployment project in Unity. That's the Headhunter deployment project here. And since it has now uTomate installed, we see these error messages. Well, I can simply change this to for split or something like that. And you can see we have everything available right here. And this is the way it will also appear when someone downloads it from the Unity Asset Store. So we can now fire up the Asset Store tools from within here and then release the package. So basically you can have the whole process automated with a single click, and it's only taking a few seconds to run and maybe a few minutes to set up. And we find this really useful when deploying anything to the Asset Store, and I think it is basically useful for everyone who is deploying something to the Asset Store. So I hope you liked this video, and you can leave the comments in the comment sections below this video. We always are looking for feedback, so if you got any feedback or if there's something you want to improve or want to have improved within uTomate, then please feel free to write in the comments or send us an email to support@ancientlightstudios.com. Thanks for watching, have fun, and happy automating.